Hey YouTube, Hill Country Husker. Appreciate you guys watching my videos. Thanks for all my subscribers. Appreciate the comments. Keep them coming. Just want to say thanks for that. You've seen at the pump lately, when you've gone to fill up your cars and trucks, the rise in gasoline prices. Have you ever wondered what's driving that right now? Everything seems to be reasonably calm in the world. I mean, if you take out what's going on with Syria, a lot of people, a lot of the media are saying the price has to do with the unrest in Egypt. Now understand, Egypt is not a large oil producing nation. They do produce crude oil. They do have some refineries, but they're not a Saudi Arabia. Okay. The big thing that they've got, and this is what the administration and the media want us to believe, is that the issue is that with all the unrest, the Suez Canal, which is a major lifeline between oil producing fields to Europe and North America, Suez Canal, if something were to happen to that, then that's a threat to petroleum supply. That's what they're telling you. Fact about it is that the Egyptian military is intact. All the unrest and everything that you see going on in Egypt, the military is not affected by that. The military leaders are in control. The Suez Canal is safe, and the Suez Canal is operating as we speak right now. It's operating fine. Trust me, it is. Some might argue, well, you know, you got all these, Iran might want to do something. Hey, you know, Iran doesn't want to go around the Cape any more than you and I do. That's about a 45-day trip. So they're not going to do anything when that's their most easy route into the Mediterranean and into Europe. Okay, so Iran's not going to do anything. The Somali pirates, hey, that's their breadbasket, baby. They're not going to mess with that, because all the ships that are coming up and to transit through the canal come right across their front porch. So nothing's going to happen in that regard. It's not the unrest that's going on in Egypt that's driving up the price of crude. And if you really think about it, if you've been paying attention, domestic oil production has been steadily increasing, which I find ironic, because if you recall back during the elections where McCain and Palin and Obama and Biden, there was this big argument. You know, Palin was, you know, drill baby drill, and all the Obama supporters were, no, we can't do that. Well, have you noticed that there has been just an explosion in drilling? Domestic onshore drilling has just gone goofy. What they're doing up in Canada, up in the Dakotas, up in New York, and also down in South Texas, domestic crude production has just gone bonkers. Production in the Gulf of Mexico. Why do you think you're hearing about all these, like current event right now, this natural gas well that's in flames off of Louisiana? There are hundreds of offshore platforms. There is so much oil being drilled right now in the Gulf of Mexico that the United States is even letting other countries come in and drill, and we're buying the oil from them. You don't believe that? Just look up Petrobras and what Brazil's doing in the Gulf of Mexico, and you'll see what I'm talking about. The domestic oil has backed out a large amount of the foreign crude oil that was being refined in this country. It's a fact. The crude oil that we have, that we're producing in the Dakotas and that we're getting out of the ground in South Texas, is a very light crude, and it is good for gasoline refining. We're doing it. A lot of people don't realize it, but we're doing it. So our dependence upon foreign oil is diminishing. Okay, so again, why is the price of crude going so high? One other thing, that a lot of people might not be aware of. When you go down and you fill up your car with a tank full of gasoline, most people assume that that gasoline is produced here in the United States of America. Fact about it is that it's not, and here's why. Europe and South America and the United States, they have differences in the fuels that they burn in their automobiles. Okay, the United States, North America, is predominantly gasolines. Okay, Europe, South America, Asia, they're predominantly diesel fuels. Okay, now if you know anything about the refining process, you're getting about a 70-30 blend or outcome, 70-30 outcome of gasoline to diesel. So that means that the United States, when they crack a barrel of crude oil, they're getting about 70% gasoline, 30% diesel. Same thing in Europe, same thing overseas. When they're cracking a barrel of crude oil, they're getting this 70-30 output. Well, Europe doesn't have any need for 70% of gasoline. So what do they do? What are they doing? They're exporting it over here, and the United States is importing it. What we're doing on our side, because we don't have that big need for all the distillates, like kerosene, jet fuel, and over-the-road diesel, we're exporting it to South America, and we're exporting it to Europe. It's a fact. So why do you think all the refineries have closed on the East Coast? Because it's more economical for them to import a finished gasoline product or a gasoline component or a blend stock than it is to bring over the crude oil. It's just a fact. People need to realize this. But the real issue right now for what's driving up the price of gasoline at the pump is something that's called a RIN. Okay? A couple years ago, I think it was in 2007, they made a mandate. It was the Renewable Fuel Standard. And what this says is that refiners and fuel marketers, petroleum marketers, have to have a percentage of renewable fuel products in their refined gasolines and diesels. Okay, this can come from biofuel. It can also come from ethanol. Okay, everybody heard about the big ethanol deal where it's supposed to help the farmers up there in the Midwest and Illinois and Iowa and Nebraska and such, because they're taking all this corn and being able to convert it into ethanol. What that does, that's also taken away from the food supply, feed for the animals, creates a nasty byproduct called DDG, whole other set of problems with that. But currently, you have to, because you're a petroleum marketer, you have to have a percentage of renewable. Well, if you're unable to provide that, there's a program where you can purchase a RIN, which is a ticket produced by a renewable fuel supplier, somebody that's making ethanol or biofuel. And what it is, it's a renewable identification number, RIN. Okay, so they're trading these things. Since about 2007, there's been this, you have to have a whole department of people that keep track of this RIN, because once that renewable barrel is produced, it's given a 38-digit RIN, and that tracks all the way through the system to the end byproduct. Okay, well, if you're making fuel and you don't meet the quota, you have to buy. Here's what's happened. RIN used to cost 10 cents, 20 cents, 30 cents a gallon. Okay, today it's right around $1.50 a gallon, and that's just for the RIN. Okay, so a refiner or a fuel marketer or somebody like that, they're having to go out and buy per gallon $1.50 this RIN. Do you think they're going to eat that? Do you think they're going to suck up that cost? No. What they're going to do is they're going to pass it on to the consumer at the pump. Okay? That's where this jump in gasoline prices has come from. Okay? Because there's enough domestic oil production in this country right now. Pipelines have been reversed from the Midwest to the Gulf Coast. Rail bottlenecks have been taken care of. The rail lines are moving. That's evident in that crash they had up in Quebec a couple weeks ago. Okay, lots of crude oil going by rail, folks. Lots and lots and lots of crude oil is going by rail. Pipelines up and down the Gulf Coast to the Mid-Continent, East Coast, West Coast. Okay, there is no crude oil fuel shortage. This is being caused by the EPA, your administration, and the government that have imposed impossible mandates that can't be met by these fuel marketers and refiners. They cannot meet these. It is impossible, and they've gone to Congress and said, we can't meet it. You're going to fine us for not attaining a goal that's unattainable. Hey, we voted this fool into office, didn't we? Well, anyway, that's why the price at the pump has gone so high lately. Just thought I'd let you know. Just my thoughts, Hill Country Husker. Thanks.